The Kentucky dawn was sharp with the scent of wet grass and fresh-cut hay, a smell that usually grounded me, tethering me to memories of my father tossing hay bales and Grandpa Joe's steady hand guiding me through the fields. I'd only been back at our 60-acre family farm for a few weeks, trading the grind of my Nashville veterinary practice for the quiet rhythm of rural life. At 52, I thought I'd earned a slower pace, a chance to care for Grandpa Joe, now 80, and to mend the fences literal and otherwise that tied me to this land. But that morning, as I sipped my coffee and headed to the barn, a chill settled in my bones that had nothing to do with the crisp air. The barn door, weathered by a century of Harper family history, hung ajar, its latch broken, a jagged wound in the morning light. My mug slipped, coffee splashing my boots, but I barely felt it. Dread coiled in my gut. Inside, the air was wrong-tainted, not the familiar mix of hay and leather, but something violated. My eyes scanned the dimness, past stacked bales, to a splintered crate. The padlocked one. The bright yellow case labeled Vetsedex, a potent sedative, was gone. This wasn't petty theft. Vetsedex was a controlled substance, dangerous in the wrong hands, and its loss could spell disaster. My hand shook as I pulled out my phone. Years ago, after a theft at a clinic where I interned, I'd embedded GPS trackers in all critical supplies. Now, that paranoia paid off. The app loaded, and a blue dot pulsed half a mile away, inside the gleaming new building labeled Pineview Meadows HOA Community Office. My breath caught. Pineview Meadows, the sprawling subdivision bordering our western fence, had been a thorn in our side since I returned. Their HOA, led by the imperious Margaret Klein, sent petty notices about our unsightly mailbox and disorderly woodpile. Grandpa Joe called them busybodies with too much money and not enough sense. But this was war. I called Deputy Tom Hargrove, a local who knew Grandpa Joe and had a reputation for fairness. I laid out the break-in, the missing Vetsedex, and the GPS ping. "It's in their office, Tom," I said, my voice tight. There was a pause. "That's a serious claim, James," he said, cautious. "No witness, no footage, circumstantial." Frustration knotted my chest, but I pressed on, emailing Pineview's HOA, copying Klein. Her reply was ice-cold. "Pineview Meadows has no knowledge of your item. Secure your supplies better, Mr. Harper." No apology, just a veiled jab. Grandpa Joe, his face carved with quiet fury, didn't waste words. "Snakes in suits," he muttered, hauling out a welder and chain. By noon, the barn was locked tight, a hand-painted sign screaming, "Private property. Trespassers shot. Survivors shot again." At 80, his fire still burned bright. The next day, a sleek SUV rolled up. Margaret Klein stepped out, flanked by two burly men I dubbed Tank and Ghost, plus a guy with a camera rolling. "Mr. Harper," she snapped, "we're inspecting your barn for hazardous materials under our safety mandate." I leaned on the gate, arms crossed. "This is private land. No warrant, no entry." Her eyes narrowed. "You're obstructing safety." I dialed Hargrove. He arrived, lights off, and shut her down. "This barn's on Harper land, ma'am. Leave." Klein stormed off, spitting, "This isn't over." That night, a photo appeared in our mailbox, a grainy shot of our chain barn with a scrawled threat. "Nice try. We'll get inside." Sleep fled. This wasn't about aesthetics anymore. It was personal. Grandpa Joe, staring at the photo, growled, "They're pushing too far, James." Pa talked about a buffer, something ironclad. County records, maybe. Hope flickered. We tore through attic boxes, unearthing a 1950 county document declaring a 100-foot agricultural buffer around our land. It was something, but not enough. I met with lawyer Karen Walsh, sharp and no-nonsense. She studied the document. "It's solid, James, but HOAs like Pineview are litigious. They'll fight dirty." She sent a cease and desist citing the buffer, but Klein's reply scoffed. "Your 1950 relic is irrelevant. We won't be intimidated." Then the pressure shifted, subtle, sinister. Cars lingered by our gate at night. Footprints appeared near the fence. Anonymous complaints to the State Veterinary Board triggered an inquiry into my storage practices, a clear smear. Grandpa Joe grew quieter, his shotgun now a porch fixture. "That buffer ain't enough," he said one evening. Pa called it a steel shield, older, stronger. Said no one could touch us with it. His eyes burned. We had to find it. A specialist appointment forced us to leave the farm for a day. When we returned, the barn chain was severed, doors gaping. An orange notice from Pineview declared an emergency inspection. Inside was chaos, crates ransacked, supplies strewn, a drug cooler left open, and a security camera smashed. Rage shook me. This was no inspection, it was vandalism. I called Hargrove, Walsh, and the veterinary board, reporting the breach of controlled substances. Then a text from a family friend stopped me cold. A Pineview HOA Facebook post by Klein. Community safety alert, it blared. Our team neutralized a hazardous, illegal storage facility on adjacent property. Photos of my barn, my medicine cabinet, were twisted to look sinister. My name, James Harper, DVM, was tagged. Comments poured in with lab, puppy mill, slaughterhouse. Lies, but devastating. Grandpa Joe's fists clenched. They're crucifying you, son. Sleep was a lost cause. We needed the steel shield. Grandpa Joe fixated on an old cedar chest in the attic. After hours of digging, I found an oilskin parcel. Inside, a 1910 envelope, sealed with a federal crest. My heart pounded as I opened it. Declaration of Federally Protected Agricultural Preserve, Harper Property, United States Department of Agriculture. Our 60 acres, due to unique soil and centuries of Harper farming, were untouchable. Federal jurisdiction. Grandpa Joe whispered, Paul wasn't kidding. Walsh, stunned, said, if this is legit, Pineview's in deep trouble. She built our case. Photos, GPS logs, Klein's post, the threats. The 1910 document was our ace. In court, the air was thick. Grandpa Joe sat rigid, Klein, smug, flanked by slick lawyers. Judge Clara Benton, a no-nonsense veteran, eyed the room. Walsh laid out the evidence: broken locks, defamation, harassment. I testified, voice steady, about the violation of my home, my livelihood, the danger of VetSedX. Pineview's lawyer painted me as a reckless farmer endangering their pristine community. Klein, polished on the stand, dodged Walsh's questions until cornered. Did you authorize the entry? Walsh pressed. Yes, Klein snapped. And the defamatory post? Yes. Then Walsh dropped the bomb. Were you aware of federal protections on Harperland? Klein faltered. Walsh presented the 1910 document. The courtroom froze. Klein's lawyers scrambled, her face ashen. Judge Benton studied the document, her silence deafening. Counsel, she said to Pineview's team, this places Mr. Harper's land under federal protection. Explain. They couldn't. After a brief recess, Benton ruled. Klein was liable for trespass, defamation, and illegal search. Pineview was negligent, facing federal review. They owed $135,000 for damages, lost income, and punishment. Klein sat, defeated. The shield had crushed them. The county buzzed with Klein's fall. She resigned, and Pineview faced scrutiny from residents and feds. The money rebuilt our barn, upgraded security, and secured Grandpa Joe's future. I opened Harper Veterinary in the barn, a steel sign proclaiming, federally protected. Trespassers sued to oblivion. The vet board cleared me. Clients returned, even some from Pineview. At the county fair, Grandpa Joe won the tall tale contest, fought an HOA with a 1910 paper. They brought lawyers, we brought the feds. The crowd roared. As the sun set over our fields, peace settled in my bones. The farm was safe, our legacy secure. What do you think about this battle against injustice? Have you faced bullies like Pineview's HOA? Share your thoughts below. Where do you stand on fighting back against unfair power? Let's hear your voice.